from the Center for the Study and Teaching of Writing at The Ohio State University. This is Writers Talk. I'm Doug Dangler. Today I am at the Ohioana Book Festival, the 2013 version of it, and I am with Dan Wilbur.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Showing off my book.
Yes, he's got his book here with him. It's called How Not to Read, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You read it right.
I did read it right.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't put it down. It was sticky. The book that you have is related to the kind of writing that you do. It says here in your bio, young comedic author, internet personality, bookseller.
I always use young as my first credit.
Right.
I'm always like,
that'll work for a while.
People are like, he wrote for the Onion, McSweeney's, whatever. But you know, we really want to know that he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
That he looks good.
Well, that's something we share.
Right.
Because I'm in my 20s.
You're 22?
Yeah, something like that.
You're younger than I am.
Yeah. So tell me about this book that you've written and the way that you're approaching the world through the book.
This book is to help you wean yourself off the tyranny of reading, the addiction of reading. You know, you come home after work and you just want to unwind with some Kierkegaard, just a few pages, and then you wake up at dawn naked in a park and you're 600 pages into a DeLillo novel and you have no idea how you got there. This book helps you stop doing that. You know, it just really helps you first by summing up every single book ever written. I got the whole Western canon in here, and it's based off a blog that I started called Better Book Titles, which this is The Great Gatsby, which has been retitled Drink Responsibly.
Right,
then we got The Odyssey, Never Flirt with a Veteran's Wife. Now you know everything you need to know about those two books. The Very Hungry Caterpillar is called Eat Until You Feel Pretty. It's a good moral to learn. And then just in time for tomorrow, we got Call Your Mom. It's Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. Call Your Mom. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
This is going to air way after
this
Mother's Day.
Probably, August.
Mother's Day of 2014, I mean.
So what sparked the book, How Not to Read, other than you doing interventions with friends about reading?
Well, someone paid me some money and said, would you like to write a book?
Okay.
And I said, how much money? And they said, not that much. And I said, sure.
Okay.
So that pretty much sparked the book.
Yeah.
I would say money was number one.
All right.
I had an idea, I had this great blog, and instead of just making t-shirts and making $1 million, they were like, how about a book?
Right.
That nobody wants. And I was like, yeah.
What about t-shirts with parts of the book printed on them?
Yeah, well, the boring parts, like the actual writing, the text. I would rather have that, so that it looks like a weird kid's, high school play cast list on his back, but it's actually my book.
Okay. So tell me about when you sit down to write, what's your writing process? It seems like you must be very serious. You've got a cup of chamomile tea.
Yes.
You're wearing a beret maybe, and just really putting your heart into the book. Yeah,
I think it was Hemingway who said, all you have to do to be a good writer is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. And I would say what you have to do is actually sit down at a typewriter and cry, and then you should ask yourself, why am I using a typewriter? There's like Bluetooth keyboards and iPads and stuff. I could be using that. That'd probably be easier, or just a pen. But and then you bleed a little bit, but that you go to a doctor.
You should get pens that aren't as sharp.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then basically, I would say I do a lot of, I'm going to write today, for sure, I'm definitely going to write, and then I clean my whole house, and I go grocery shopping, and I go to the gym, and I talk to friends on Facebook that I haven't talked to in 6 years.
At the gym?
From my phone. I'm talking to them on Facebook while I jog, and I go I'm feeling really good, and then the next day I go, oh man, I got to write that book.
Okay. So when you do sit down to write it, what inspires you? What ways do you get into writing the book after you're done with the crying?
Well, I would say there's some really talented writers that I just stole from, just took their stuff. You can do this. There's this really cool feature on your computer where you can copy paste from other people's text.
Right.
It's pretty cool, and it's a very cool feature on every. I think it's on every MacBook. Sure. I don't know if the technology has gotten there for PCs.
Sure.
But you just copy, paste. I was just like, first page of Daniel Deronda, in there.
Done. Okay.
Done. Paid. Already. You know those books that were like those humor books that were like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna write a book. It's like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies without the zombies. It's like really
So it's just
meta.
right. Yeah.
You know, it's just like it is Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, it sounds
but-
like you never met an idea you didn't like. That's
Yeah.
a very Will Rogers way of thinking.
Yes.
Yes, I like what you're doing
Yes.
there. So you've got your blog. How much of the blog made it into the book?
Only
you
about
said?
30 pages.
Okay.
I think people will be really happy if they liked better book titles. They'll be really happy about me actually giving a shit and making a book
Okay.
around the better book titles.
That's your advice as an author.
I
to
would
give
say
it a-
if you're an author who's using the internet to advertise yourself, it's probably best not to just put whatever was on the website
Right.
into book form, because nobody wants that. This is about 30 pages of my favorite better book titles, and then there's literary insults. There's a choose your own adventure,
Okay.
where you eventually get turned into a cat. That's a spoiler alert.
No matter what happens.
No matter what happens, you just
get
turn
turned
into a
into a
cat,
cat.
because that's how we all die. I don't know if
As
you knew
cats.
that.
Yeah.
The reason there's so many feral cats is because like
Everybody's
that's what
turning
happens
into
when you
them.
die.
Okay.
You don't just go in the ground. That's a lie that your parents made up. You get turned into a cat.
Yeah, no, I can see why you would need to say something like, when you die, you go into the ground and you molder,
Yeah.
as opposed to, no, you turn into a feral cat.
Right, because
I can see it
like
much more
children, it
frightening.
like helps children grow to be like, you're going to be in the ground and there is no such thing as a soul.
Right.
It just helps them get more in tune with the world, rather than telling them the truth, which is that you become a feral cat.
You know, I noticed in your book, not to leave the religious aspect aside, but
Sure.
you have things like when you talked about the very hungry caterpillar. That is an image that looks, I think it's directly from. What was the process for you? How difficult was it for you to get somebody like Eric Carle to
Well-
say, you know what, go ahead and use that for Eat Until You Feel Pretty? How hard was
Well,
that?
I'll start by saying don't show this video to Eric Carle,
Okay.
if that's possible.
Or John Steinbeck, which
Or
is good
John
because
Steinbeck.
he's dead,
Well,
so
some of these are
anyway.
Penguin classics, and this is a Penguin book, so
Okay.
I guess they can sue themselves.
Right.
But most of this falls under parody. I actually redrew this whole caterpillar from scratch, and it just ended up looking exactly like Eric Carle's drawing.
Yeah, that's good. That's
But-
you've done a fine job.
Haven't I? It was, again, copy-paste.
Good.
Very hard. That's how people draw, right? They copy.
And then they paste. Yeah. Well, I think especially Eric Carle, because I've always thought that was tissue paper, like that he had pasted
He had
onto.
pasted onto
right.
it.
That's what I assume. So basically, the idea is you parody books, hopefully of people that are already dead.
Yes,
Like-
so that I don't get sued.
Okay.
But it all falls under parody, you know,
Okay.
remixing songs, remixing covers.
Right.
And most of the people who enjoy better book titles, when it first started, were the people who designed these covers themselves. Like there were people who designed covers, and they were like, "This guy's great," and so
That's right. He's
probably not Eric Carle.
He's stealing our work. This guy's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what they said. It's stealing.
We appreciate that.
The main point is steal. That's the main. I hope I'm getting that out.
No, that is
in this
that's coming
interview.
through pretty clearly.
That,
And
like,
remember,
just-
it's his idea to steal, not my idea
Right.
to steal. So you, I think prison will be a transformative experience for you. I look forward to hearing the book about that.
About how I dealt with the
How you-
lawsuits.
right? Yeah. Right. How you dealt with it. Anyway, Dan Wilbur, thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
being
much,
here
Doug.
today on Writers Talk. Again, the book is How Not to Read. You have a podcast called Love, Sex, Death, and Books.
Yes.
Still going. So people can listen to that.
can
Is
listen
that
to
it's
that.
on iTunes?
It's on iTunes.
And
We had the fabulous A.M. Holmes. We've had my favorite book, Tim Kreider's We Learn Nothing. We talked about that.
sounds positive.
It's really good.
Okay. So we'll encourage people to tune in for that. Get the podcast feed, the RSS,
Yes.
which is fantastic. Although Google has stopped supporting it, which was very sad news.
Bunch of jerks.
Yeah, we have a podcast on Writers Talk. I wish we had still things like that. But at any rate, Dan Wilbur, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And from the Center for the Study and Teaching of Writing at The Ohio State University, this is Doug Dangler. Keep writing.